A fast bowler is as healthy as his or her oxidative system allows. So the better management of oxidative stress, the better the fast bowler performance will be. Okay. Now, what is oxidative stress? Hello everyone. Hope you guys are doing great. Now we two are here. So I'm with Nikhil Pancholi, founder of Pace Garage, which is a fast bowling institute. He trains fast bowler to achieve their peak performance, improve their pace, and all the other factors which are physical, mental, and emotional related to the fast bowling and fast bowler. So Hilo Desai, I'm the founder of MentElitey. So I'm a certified functional breathing instructor. So I take care of the physiological part and the mental part of the athlete. So we are gonna have a great conversation here, which will be specifically catering to fast bowlers, but also athletes in general. So any athlete can watch this and will be very valuable. And if you're a fast bowler, you should surely watch this and not miss.
Thank you, Elor, for the introduction. I think it's going to be a very good webinar where we will have two distinct topics to be worked on. One specifically towards fast bowling, because obviously you are catering to a bunch of fast bowlers with Pace Garage coming into the webinar. And also the topic that you are catering is very rudimentary, and there's not a lot of people who actually understand what is there in the mental side of sports. So I think this is going to be a good webinar. Hopefully, we can just start a dialogue with the people that we have in our community, and let's hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a great conversation. So we'll take a range of topics when it comes to fast bowling. So some of the topics are like, first we'll break down what fast bowling actually is. Then we'll break down what mental and physiological factors are important for a fast bowler to execute their skill. How can they improve their pace? How can they increase their recovery? How can they better their endurance levels? Everything will be taught in this conversation, and even the mental side of sport, like how can they focus better? How can an athlete in general focus better? Have a good lifestyle so that they perform at their peak.
All right. So I think we should start with the first topic. All right, so we'll get into the first point now, where I'll just try to explain fast bowling in a very simple way. So let's assume fast bowling as an act. So there are four major parts in the act of fast bowling. The first one being the run up, which is basically creation of momentum and creation of rhythm towards the batter. Second one is the impulse, or you could say the jump part, whereas all the momentum that you have used from the run up is going to transfer into the action. Then comes the load up. The load up is the most important part where every single thing of a fast bowler's action goes through. And the fourth one is the finish or the follow through, which is more a reaction than an action. That's something that you cannot control. But definitely the follow through gives you an idea that all the other pointers before have done correctly. That's when the finish or the follow through becomes as good as possible. So I think by just having this vague idea of what fast bowling is as an act, I think Hilo will be able to explain it much better. What in terms of the internal physiology in these four different aspects of fast bowling happens, or what changes in the body of a fast bowler occurs when he's going through these four phases in his action. I think Hilo, you can take it further.
So first I'll take the different aspects of it. First I'll take a visual aspect, then I'll take a mental aspect, and then I'll take the physiological aspect. Okay, in taking a perspective of breathing. So first the visual aspect. So visually there are two types of focus. One is the tunnel vision, which is a narrow focus, and one is a broad focus. Okay, which is a peripheral vision. So when a fast bowler is bowling, when he has started the act of bowling, the better the fast bowler's narrow focus is, the better he'll be able to deliver the ball where he wants to deliver and do stuff that he wants to do. Even if your goal is to bowl as fast as you can, there should be a narrow focus by the fast bowler. Okay. The second is the intention. Okay. The stronger the intention of the fast bowler, the more accurate the narrow focus becomes. You can focus at a single thing, but with a weak intention, the focus gets vagued out. So the intention, which is the mental part. Okay. So if your focus is all over the place, a fast bowler needs to do more of visual training. He needs to train the vision.
Right.
If his intention is all over the place, he needs to train intention. He needs to do some mental training.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is perception. This is more match oriented. So the perception of situation, the more the fast bowler perceives fear. If the fear of getting hit is greater than the intention of bowling at a particular spot, more often than not, the ball will not fall at that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So these three aspects are very important for a fast bowler to execute whatever he wants to execute. For example, during practice, he wants to execute a particular action or a particular alignment, then his intention should be completely on the alignment. And then once he has mastered that, then he goes to the accuracy part.
That's right. That's right. I
Yeah.
think it's something similar to what I try to teach as well. Like, a lot of students of mine, they come and they like, because I've explained to them that there are 4 to 5 things that they have to change in their action. What they end up doing is that and in a single ball they try to focus on 4 to 5 things. When in reality you cannot do that. It's physically impossible for you to do that. So it's all about how much focus can you keep on on a particular thing, and it's a boring process, but you still have to keep doing it, and you just have to focus on one thing until you start perfecting it. And once you start getting that cue ingrained in your muscle memory, that's when you can move to the second part. That's the issue that I see in a lot of players, in fact in a lot of coaches. They want everything to be done at the same ball. It's not possible. So what you're saying is absolutely right.
Yeah. Very accurate. Very accurate. And your eye to brain connection is also very important. So there are lots of visual exercises like Pratak, which is a yogic exercise where like you improve your eye to brain connection, you improve your eyesight. So those are some exercises which athlete can practice if their intention and focus is off.
Mhm.
So if this is better, your improvement will be way faster than normal
Right.
because you're operating at a very peak efficiency. You're doing like from a corporate perspective, you're doing like 4 hours work in 40 minutes.
Exactly.
Next, switching off between balls. So when the ball is bowled, it is very important for a fast bowler to broaden his vision, make it a peripheral vision for him to relax, move on from the previous ball because broadening the vision, having a peripheral vision, uh, activates a parasympathetic response in the body, which is relaxation.
Okay.
So he has time to move on from the body, move on from the previous ball, get himself together, and focus on the next delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Then a very good tool, a very good anchor point that can be taken into the act of fast bowling is the act of breathing. Yeah. So whenever the fast bowler feels distracted in anything, in the catch drop, in him not executing as well, anything, he can take his focus back and just focus on his breathing and let that be an anchor point. To start off, just being aware of the breath is enough. Wherever your mind is,
Mm.
it comes on the center. Everything aligns.
That's
Okay.
true. That's true.
And there is a high chance of your body aligning if your breath is aligned.
That's true, because a lot of times, like what we as fast bowling coaches, we know that the run up part, or the run up till the action, has to be very very relaxed. Your entire body has to be super relaxed. So when your body is relaxed, you're actually creating momentum, you're creating the energy. And then when you come in your action, that's when all the tension, all the stiffness starts coming up, so that all the energy that you've used gets accumulated in your action. And then towards the end, you can release all the energy together with the tension. Like it's sort of like you are creating energy, and then you're molding all that tension in your action, and then you're just forcing it off. So a breathing plays a very big role, as we all know. Like, if you are breathing very quickly, or when you're stressed, when you just, your entire body becomes stiff. So when you become stiff, you cannot create any energy, you cannot create any rhythm. So it's very important when you're in a run up, your breathing has to be very very relaxed, very very aligned, so you can just start creating the energy. And then that shift from the relaxation to that tensioned area when you're going to come in your action, I think breathing plays a very big role. It can help you a lot when you accomplish that.
One thing which can work wonders is whenever a fast bowling is starting his run up or throughout his run up, he can have a breathing pattern. So I won't tell to breathe in a certain way because everybody will have a same different breathing pattern while running up. A person with low CO2 tolerance will have a slightly faster requirement of oxygen, will have more requirement of oxygen, so the pattern will be slightly faster. A person with a high CO2 tolerance will have slightly relaxed pattern, okay, and slightly slow pattern. So find your own pattern which works best for you while running up, and then while producing, like while the jump, while the load, you hold your breath, okay, just for a second, and while actually bowling, doing the act of bowling, it is very important to have a good exhale, because
Right.
exhalation produces force. So whenever we're lifting, even in the gym, you come up, you pick the load, you exhale. Whenever
Right.
you're boxing, you punch, you exhale. Exhalation has a great force production. So it is very important to have a very good exhalation which helps you produce the maximum force.
Right. Right.
And for that, your exhalation muscles should be strong. Your abdomen should be strong and your diaphragm should be strong. If it inverts during the exhalation, your diaphragm needs some work to do. So it is very important to have a good force and a good exhalation while doing any kind. So a basketball player while jumping, he needs that. So a fast bowler while jumping and finishing must need that while he's exerting the force.
Right.
A good exhalation.
Right. Okay, I think pretty much we've cleared in this first topic. I think we should move on to the second topic and clear a lot of things, a lot of issues that a lot of fast bowlers, even a lot of sports person go through. So I think we should move on to the next one.
Now we come to a very important part for a fast bowler or for any athlete in general. Okay. But because this talk is specific to the fast bowler, I'll address them, but this is applicable for every athlete. A fast bowler is as healthy as his or her oxidative system allows. So the better management of oxidative stress, the better the fast bowler performance will be. Okay. Now, what is oxidative stress? So when we breathe oxygen, that is converted into energy. And when that process happens, there are free radicals, which are there are molecules of free radicals that are released. Now, those free radicals are balanced with antioxidants. So when there is an imbalance of free radicals to antioxidants, there is a problem. What problem? There is inflammation, fatigue, and other factors that are caused. And that is what oxidative stress is. So the oxidative stress is a stress which occurs through the process of oxidation. When our body uses the oxygen and converts into the energy, and those free radicals are high in number. So while a person exercises or does an act of fast bowling, the oxygen requirement is very high. So the person breathes more, and when the person breathes more oxygen is taken, and hence more free radicals are formed. So it is very important to balance it by antioxidant intake. Okay. So one is you take antioxidants in the form of various vitamins and everything. The other is you uh, slow the speed of buildup of free radicals. How you do that is by breathing through your diaphragm and breathing just as much as your activity requires. And if the athlete at rest is breathing more than the athlete requires, he or she is not recovering to their peak potential, because there are free radicals that are forming even during recovery. So it is very important to breathe as just as much as your activity wants you to breathe, and not overbreathe and underbreathe. Same is the logic for eating. If you're having a very active day, you eat more. If you're having a very sedentary day, you eat comparatively lesser. Same logic applies for the oxygen intake. Yeah? So that limits the free radicals, and it balances the free radicals to antioxidant ratio. And by that, your oxidative stress will be less and your oxidative system will be healthier.
So you're saying it's
How can you do
more
that?
of
Is yeah,
the speed of the breathing, like let's say per minute I breathe in a slower rate, so that allows me to balance both the things, or how is it like?
yeah, you're right. So there are two parts. One is what you mentioned, the speed of the breathing, the breaths per minute. Yeah. And the other thing is the volume of breath. Even if you're taking 5 breaths a minute, but you're taking it very heavy breath, so you're taking the same amount of air which you took in like 20 breaths.
Right, right, right.
So The goal is to take the amount of breaths which are amount and the volume of breath should be in proportion toward the activity demand.
Okay.
So now I wanted to ask a question to Nikhil. As we all are different individuals, we have our own individuality. How are fast bowlers different as individuals? Because fast bowling as an act can be one thing, but there can be variety in fast bowlers. So how are fast bowlers different? How their mindsets are different? How everything is different? Can you give some insights on that?
So I think first off, being like from all the disciplines in cricket, I think fast bowling is the one which is the most uniqueness. When I say uniqueness, I mean that not any fast bowler in the world, no two fast bowlers will have the exact same action. You cannot copy. Like if you say batsman, like when you tell them to play a cover drive, from 10 people, at least two people or three people will have the same type of cover drive. But that's not the case with fast bowlers because I mean that's how genetically the body is. That's how the grasping power. That's how a lot of like bio physiological stuff, like a lot of fibers and everything is different in different fast bowlers. So while it might look similar, but it can never be the same. So I think what I would suggest or what I would say is that there are majorly two different types of fast bowlers in terms of what is required for them as a bowler. First one being a runner based bowler and the second one being a strength based bowler. So when I say run up based and strength based, the major difference comes up is the run up intensity of the bowler. So now when you say a run up based bowler, a run up based bowler would be someone like Bhuvneshwar Kumar or someone like Brett Lee or someone like Mitchell Stark. So these guys have a very quick run up. They have a lot of momentum generated in their run up. So they use all that energy that they have created in their run up, and then they move with the speed. So it would feel like if they bowl from a short run up, they're not going to bowl very quick. But the moment they get back to the run up and they start creating that momentum, their ball starts flying to the keeper. Second type would be a strength-based bowler. A strength-based bowler does not rely as much as the runner-based bowlers do and on the run-up, but the strength-based bowlers rely a lot on their action. So when I say on their action, so they create range in their action. So it's sort of like archery. Like when you take the archery, you're just not going to leave it like this. You're actually going to stretch it off and then push it, right? So that's how a strength-based bowler works. So they use a lot of range, elastic range. So what that's technically what we call is as stretch reflex. So they use a lot of stretch reflex and then they push it all towards their action. So these are the two major different kinds. Obviously, as I said, fast bowling is very, very unique. There are a lot of exceptions. Shoaib Akhtar being the best prime exception, where he was a stand-based bowler but had a huge run-up. Almost a run-up used to come from the boundary. So and then you have someone like Wasim Akram who had like just 15 steps of runner, but he was a runner base bowler. Or someone like Jasprit Bumrah who was a runner base bowler but just has 10 steps of runner. So there's a lot of uniqueness. Now these uniqueness comes in a lot of different ways. Some have different physiological aspects, some have a lot of mental aspects. All right. So the thing that I would suggest in terms of mentality is that first of all needs to understand what kind of a bowler he or she is, right? Because a lot of times people they see a lot of videos on YouTube, they see a lot of different things, but they actually forget what their internal feeling is as a bowler, and that's where a fast bowler relies the most. All the cues, all the drills that we do is mostly done for that feel that we get while bowling. If you don't have the feel as a fast bowler, even if your action looks very good, you're just going to be a robot, right? And no fast bowler can operate being a robot and bowl 150 or 140. It has to be rhythmical, it has to be flowy. The whole action should be flowy. So you need to understand what kind of bowler you are first, all right? And that would be something internally in you. That's not someone who can come and tell you that you are this kind of bowler, you're this kind of a bowler. It's all according to you, right? So you need to understand what kind of a bowler you are, and you need to work on different aspects on what you can do. So if you say a stand based bowler will be someone who's slightly bulkier, who needs a lot of more power, who needs a lot of more strength as a bowler. Someone like Sean Tate, who's a nice and bulky fellow. Someone like Mitchell Johnson, who's bulky as well. Someone like Mitchell McClenaghan, right? And then you have bowlers like Kamlesh Nagarkoti. You have bowlers like Navdeep Saini. You have bowlers like Pat Cummins, who are lanky, who are nice. Someone like Dushmanta Chamira, right? So these guys don't they're tall, they're lanky, but they're firm. They're firm. So all that run up momentum, all that lankiness in their action is all converted when they go with the run up and come into their action.
I had a doubt here. You would be a better judge. Is a way to judge that what my peak is like run and find like where you're peaking at your physical like speed and strength, and is that a good run up? So I'm just like you'll be a better judge for it.
So
So a
what
natural person can peak at any time. So the best rhythm that you find the when your rhythm it as its peak is at its peak, that is your like best run up. Is it the case?
Yes, that is the case, and there is a very very simple drill for this as well. So as I said, fast bowling is all about feel, right? So how do we just leave everything and just focus on the feel? That comes when you remove all the perception, all the visual aspects in your bowling. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna go to an open ground, all right? Take two or three cones, put a starting point, all right? You start from that point, you close your eyes till the entirety. You just go, use your run up, and just keep running. And wherever you feel that, okay, now I want to go and do my load up, that's exactly where you do your load up, right? You do the same thing for like 10 to 15 times. Once you start feeling that, okay, this is the consistent place that I've been landing for the past 5 to 6 deliveries, that is your exact run up. You should never rely on perception, on visual, or because you're bowling a no ball, you're gonna increase your run up, or you're gonna do your jump a bit back. Nothing like that. It's all about your feel, and that feel is only possible once you remove all the visuals, you remove all the other distractions, and that is only possible when you close your eyes and you just keep running. If you run, and that's what you exactly
Yeah.
feel. Now I'm going to load up. That is your peak.
And then the minor polishing things and everything can
Definitely,
happen, and
definitely. Like a lot of
the,
running mechanics, and it's like Brett Lee. You always up your peak, but yeah, once you get to that peak, how to understand what your peak is, this drill is very very helpful for you.
was a great information from your end, and I'm sure it will be helpful not just to fast bowlers, to basically all the sport which requires some bit of athleticism and sprinting and everything. Though when you said that a fast bowler is the most complicated or the most difficult thing, as a spinner, I was mildly offended. But yeah, I know where you're coming from, so I'll take it.
Right. Okay. So, since everybody knows, like fast bowling is a very physically tolling discipline in cricket. So, no matter how much ever you are strong, or no matter how much ever athletic you are always bound to get injured, or you're always will not have the best recovery plan within you. So I think if you could elaborate a bit on how a fast bowler can actually recover and not just be like, okay, if I'll go to sleep, I will recover. So I know there are a lot of more aspects to how a fast bowler can recover, because that's one of the things that has been lacked even in international stages. And I think that is something that a lot of people should focus on.
Yeah. So first of all, before talking about recovery, it is very important to talk about what causes recovery, or what causes an athlete a need to recover.
Right,
Okay. So first of all, let me talk about fatigue. Okay. So fatigue can be two types. One is the physical fatigue, one is the mental fatigue.
right,
But in both the types, there is a physiological change which occurs in the body, and which can lead to a mental fatigue causing physical, and physical fatigue causing mental fatigue. So the physiological changes are the same in both. So what happens when a body is fatigued is it increases its heart rate, the breathing rate increases, uh, the number of thoughts increases,
right.
and there are many other changes. The focus is minimized. Like you give away the uh, competitive edge to the opposition when the fatigue kicks.
Exactly. True.
So it is very important to identify which fatigue. So during the biobubble phase, most of the athletes they had proper recovery sessions and everything, but they were mentally and psychologically fatigued,
Right.
which caused a performance drop in some of them. And because of that, a lot of things there, many people got injured, many people got a drop in the level of performance, their peak pace or anything, or their peak uh, sprint ability, or there are many factors that have been taken to. So when the fatigue, how to prevent fatigue? First is have a great physical health, yeah, and that by physical health I don't just mean a good body or a good aesthetic body. A good physical health where the body is able to take a good load of stress,
Right.
an external physical stressor. Then a good physiological pillars of health, such as the lifestyle and everything, should be very good. We'll take that later. All the recovery parts we will be taking later.
Right.
And the other thing is mental health. Yeah? So it is very important to have a good mental health. The factors in mental health, mental recovery will also be taken later. So this is fatigue. Now, one thing that causes fatigue physiologically is lactic acid buildup.
Okay.
So, what is lactic acid buildup? Like the people who have not seen the video or not seen that part of the video where we talked about oxidative stress, you can visit there. So, lactic acid buildup is the same as free radicals in the oxidative stress. Just that lactic acid buildup is caused when the body is making energy anaerobically. So oxidation occurs when the body is making energy aerobically. So uh, when I'm walking, casually walking, my oxygen requirement is too low. So
Right.
oxidation occurs. But when I'm doing a very rigorous exercise like HIIT or even fast bowling, then my body, the oxygen is not enough. So my body takes energy from glucose, okay, and other form of carbohydrates and everything. So in that process, in converting the glucose and carbohydrates into energy, lactic acid is formed.
Right.
And the faster the lactic acid is formed, and if your body's tolerance to lactic acid is low, your body will cause burn and fatigue way earlier. So, for example, for a footballer, let's take a topic just away from fast bowling for a minute, or a tennis player. If a footballer or tennis player is getting fatigued or burned mid game, there is a lots of willpower to be involved in the next half of the game.
True.
So there is a lot of the lower your physiological standpoint is, the more psychologically burnout you will be. So if you have a great, if you can sustain level 8, then just level 9 and 10 require you to psychologically push yourself. But if
Right.
your level is 5, you need like level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the psychological burnout is also too much. So both the burnouts are too much. So either you can have some mental health issues or you can have some physical issues. They manifest in the form of any injuries, physical injuries. So this is how lactic acid. So how can you control tolerate lactic acid buildup better? That brings me to the another topic is production of CO2. When a body exercises, CO2, carbon dioxide is formed. So if my tolerance to carbon dioxide is not much, my lactic acid production is faster. Okay. So the goal for an athlete for good performance is to tolerate high amount of carbon dioxide levels in the body. How does it happen? A very good way for it to happen is training at a high altitude. Because when one trains at a high altitude, the oxygen saturation is low. And when the oxygen saturation is low, what the body does is it increases the production of red blood cells. And increase production of red blood cells can be taken as a Popeye spinach. Okay, it oxygenates you. So because of this increasing production of red blood cells, oxygenation is better. So the higher amount of CO2 in the body, the better the oxygen absorption is. You can take how much ever oxygen you want, but if it is not absorbed, there is no point of it. So it is very important to have a high CO2 threshold.
Right.
So higher the CO2 threshold, better the lactic acid buildup you can tolerate. Better the lactic acid buildup you can tolerate, you delay the time of the fatigue. So if you cannot go to high altitude, what is the alternate way? To include breath holds in your training. Including breath holds in your training makes a good environment for you for your body to have a hypoxic environment, which is low oxygen saturation. And even better is when you breath hold post exhale. So in our training sessions, when I train the athletes, when I do the breath training, after an athlete reaches a good standpoint, reaches a good base of his physiology, we go move into the training. We move into training where the oxygen saturation is lower, hypoxic training. So that is very important to like have go into the next level of your fitness, which many athletes are missing. So you can train, you can replicate the hard you're training in the normal on your normal ground level if you cannot go to high altitude.
Right.
So hope everything like is clear at your end. If you like have any questions
So
regarding the same.
I think what I'm trying to understand is whatever mental side of things that we have, a lot of things is interconnected to how we breathe or what our respiratory is going on with. So I think that's a pretty different topic that we've discussed right now, because a lot of times, a lot of people just correlate the mental side of things with just something that is going on inside their brain, without actually understanding that there is a very evident physiological connection with that, where you can actually physically train how you can become more mentally strong. So yeah, that's a very good point. I think it's very important for fast bowlers also, because uh, I would be a little bit uh, connected to the fast bowlers, where I say that most of us fast bowlers don't get much time to make ourselves mentally strong. Like, being fast bowlers, we don't like to do yoga. We don't like to do things which are, on the lower side of physicality. But when you can understand there are things that can be done physically to help yourself mentally, it's a whole new ballpark. So it's good that we have this kind of insights from you, Hidor. So I think we should move on to the next topic. And
Uh, yeah. So the next topic, you ended the topic very well. That as a fast bowler, you do not do stuff which like yoga. I'll put it better way. A fast bowler or a high physically performing athlete, where he has lots of physical things to do, is very bad at down regulating his or her nervous system.
exactly.
Yeah. So the nervous system, let's get into some depths of the nervous system, autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system has two parts: the sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, you can say, is the body's accelerator, and
Okay.
the parasympathetic is the body's brake. So looking at the surrounding, the body uh, keeps you at one or the other, or the ratio is somewhat different from one to the other. So because fast bowlers have a great habit to physically practice a lot,
Right.
so they have a great access to upregulating the nervous system, which is uh,
SNS.
pressing the accelerator. Yeah, sympathetic, activating the sympathetic response, the stress response. But the relaxation response, the parasympathetic response, is is not their forte. Is not
Exactly.
something which comes naturally to them.
Right.
So it's very important for them to train them, and this is why many fast bowlers suffer from the overtraining syndrome, just because they are not able to regulate their nervous
Right. There's always that fear
system.
between fast bowlers where, uh when like, if I take my personal example, like, there was a time when I was in my rock bottom phase. I was not bowling well, and I thought that bowling 80 deliveries or 100 deliveries a day is going to solve the stuff, where in reality that was not the case. It was just bowling like 25 to 30 balls in a day, and actually understanding what is going on in your body. Whereas just, laboring yourself, becoming like a donkey and just bowling 80 to 100 deliveries without actually understanding what's going on in your body. So that's a very good topic, like, because a lot of people who don't have access to what is to be done in their action, or what is to be done to improve themselves, they just end up going to the next sessions and they just keep on bowling and bowling and bowling, and it does not get them anywhere. For the next 5 6 years, they just keep on bowling for 2 3 hours a day, and they just stuck over there thinking that we are working so hard, but nothing's happening. So I mean, that time is gone when you just work hard and you get the success. You need to understand, you need to do the smart hard work, and then get the success that you can achieve from that.
One reason for that is because the resistances in today's world are much more, and which will bring us to the other part, to the later aspect, which is there's lots of mental stuff going on. So they're already burnt out. And still today, hard work is very, very, very essential for a fast follower. But
Definitely.
it is also important at what level or at what state do you need that hard work, and when do you not need the hard work, and what are the other factors which are stopping you from working hard
Exactly.
actually. Because uh, if you're working hard, you make sure you're working 100% in that particular topic, in the particular session, in that particular day, the goal of the day, the outcome of the day, and you're not just going there and bowling without any purpose of the session.
True, true, true.
And the more the mind is wavered everywhere, the more purposeless your session will be, and you'll just keep bowling without actually improving.
Exactly.
Whereas the more the mind is sorted, the more it will be on track to just follow the purpose of the session. And you'll, even if you do the same hard work, the improvement is 500%. But if you do the work just as much as is required, the process of improvement is like this rather than
Right, right.
like this.
Okay, so I think we've pretty much understood how physiology can be connected to the mental side of things. Now we want to get something towards a little bit more straightforward to understand how mentally can you recover your mental health, or what are the different uh, mental stuff that you can do to recover as a fast bowler and as an athlete in general.
So, first thing, which is not just mental, which takes care of all the recovery, is the sleep. The sleep is so important for an athlete, and I guess there is no athlete who denies this or does not know this. And everybody is like pushing for the number of hours of sleep, which is great. Okay, you should have the number of hours which suits the best for your recovery, which is not like oversleeping and which is not undersleeping. I'll talk more on the quality aspect of sleep, that
Right.
how can you improve the quality of your sleep uh, in the given hours. So the first thing, which we all are guilty of, or which we all are, if guilty is not the right word, we all are affected by it, is the EMF, the electromagnetic frequency, that present in the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, and everything, the mobile phones and everything around us.
Right.
So that plays a huge part in decreasing the quality of your sleep. So the first thing is you can do is to switch off the Wi-Fi routers while sleeping, before sleeping, to not use any wireless Bluetooth earphones while sleeping. Lots of people have a habit to hear a meditative music or something. You
Right.
can hear that on speaker and close it, but try not to use wireless Bluetooth speakers while sleeping. Uh, the other aspect is blue light. Other major aspect. Yeah, even the phone. You can switch off your phone or put it on the airplane mode to reduce its exposure to electromagnetic frequency.
Right.
The other aspect is blue light. So our body has a natural circadian rhythm. So when our body at the morning sees the sun, it releases a bit of cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And a release of cortisol in the during the daytime is very good. So essentially, it releases cortisol and it releases your happy hormone. So it is very important to look outside during the day, to gaze the sky during the day, especially during the sunset time. Nothing better than that.
Right.
And when the night light happens, so when the sunset is done, our body releases melatonin, which is a sleep hormone. So based on, depending on, so first when there was no light pollution, people's sleeping pattern were way better because the body saw night, it produced melatonin. But because of extensive light these days, the melatonin production is delayed or suppressed,
Right.
and because of that, sleep quality is affected. And one light which is a lot of which is affecting people a lot is the blue light that they get from phones. So
Mm.
there are many things you can do. You can lower the brightness of the light. Number one, you can lower the phone's light. So many phones, iPhones and even the Android phones have the feature of turning on the lower, not the LED lights, the lower lights of the lower color, which is not bad for the eye. There are lots of blue light blocking glasses available
Right.
where the blue light is blocked. So you can wear that once the sun sets and you're using a phone or anything. Even that can work. So that will improve your circadian rhythm and improve the quality of the sleep in the same number of hours. And one of the most important aspects of the quality of sleep is mouth breathing during the sleep. If you breathe through your mouth during the sleep, you're compromising on a huge bit of quality in your sleep. So if you look at all the animals, all the animals which are in good health, which are functional, will always breathe through the nose when they're sleeping. So even we humans have been breathing through our nose when sleeping. But off late, because of our lifestyle changes and everything, we've started, like, not off late, it's not like 5, 10, 15 years, since quite a few years now. We've been started breathing through our mouth. So that is very quality affecting when it comes to sleep.
Right.
So one thing that can be done uh, is, which I do daily since like a few years now, is mouth tape. There's a medical tape which is available, very inexpensive, very pocket friendly, which you can get in any medical store, which we put on the cotton when we're band-aiding or doing, we're protecting our injured area. Very inexpensive, available in all the chemist stores. You can put it over your mouth and sleep. There are many other factors. There are many other types of tapes available. There's a nasal dilator available on Amazon. All these products are very inexpensive and easily available on Amazon or any other medical store near. So you can use that to improve your nose breathing during the sleep. And trust me, most all of my clients, not even most, who you started nose breathing during the night, have had tremendous sleep quality upgrade. Tremendous sleep quality upgrade. They wake up fresh after the same number of hours.
Right.
So block the lights, block the EMF, uh, set in your circadian rhythm well, and nose breathe during the night, and the sleep quality will improve a lot. That is a guarantee.
Now, the last part being the nose breathing. I think a lot of people, including me, we have a lot of issues with the nose breathing because most of the times our noses are blocked. Especially in my case, my nose is always blocked. So, are there any kind of remedies that the person can do to, remove this or release this? Because most of the times, even if the person wants to do nose breathing, he or she cannot do that.
Yeah. So nose breathing, nose blocking, uh, can nose breathing regularly can improve your nose blocking, but that is a long term solution.
Right.
So once you start nose nose breathing at night, the nose blocking reduces significantly. This is because the production of a molecule called nitric oxide.
Okay.
There's a huge backstory of the nitric oxide. That's for a different topic and a different conversation. But the lesser number of nitric oxide that is present in your nasal cavities, the more there are chances for your nose to get be blocked. So
Okay.
over time, we measure. I personally measure an athlete bold score, which is a body oxygen level test score, to give him training and to give him exercises to include nose breathing during the night. And once he or she starts breathing through the nose all day and all night, their bold score increases, which increases the nitric oxide production in their nasal cavities, and their nose block is gone.
Right.
After a certain bold score, your nose block is reduced significantly. So that's the problem of lack of production of nitric oxide in your nasal cavity. The other thing which you can just do to block your nose temporarily is just exhale, pinch your nose, and walk as many steps as you can, and then open your nose and just nose breathe. Do this 5 to 7 steps, and your nose will be unblocked.
I had one more question.
Yeah.
Uh, is the ear and the nose connected together? Like, I believe there's something known as a vestibular apparatus where it affects your balance as a person. So, is there something with relation to the nose? Like, if your nose is blocked, or if you're not very, very good with your nose, it starts affecting your ear, or sort of like a eustachian tube or a vestibular apparatus, which it creates differences in the balance of the person.
It can. It definitely can. Definitely. But the here also the most important thing is the more your nose is unblocked and is free flowing and is taking the air and is calmly taking the air. It is not
Right.
rushing to take the air. The more balanced your whole cavity is, the whole nasal cavity is. The more balanced your nasal cavity is. In fact, the whole facial structure, the jaw structure, and everything is aligned.
Makes sense.
And one of the very important thing in doing this is your tongue posture. Your tongue should always rest on the roof of the mouth rather than the bottom. So the more is that so when the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, you cannot breathe through your mouth. So your body is the only way the body can breathe is through your nose. So the more calm the body is while breathing through your nose, the zero impact. And if currently there is impact, it can be improved by including nose breathing in your day-to-day life if you are a mouth breather. And you cannot just breathe through your nose or breathe through your mouth all day and instruct your body to breathe through your nose at night. It will breathe exactly the way you're training it to breathe during the day. If you're breathing heavy during the day, it will breathe heavy during the night, which can cause snoring and in higher cases, a case of obstructive sleep apnea. So including nose breathing in your sleep schedule, the sleep routine can be of great benefit.
As a fast bowler or as a sports person, a lot of people emphasize on cooling down physically, where their body just comes to a resting stage and they cool down physically. But how important is it to cool down mentally? Because being guilty of doing the same thing, even once you go back from the sessions or anything, you just keep on thinking for the same thing, and sort of the focus that you actually want when you're doing the stuff, it does not come, and you just sort of in the same place again and again. So how do you recover mentally, wherein you just calm yourself and you just go and do your daily stuff apart from your sports?
So a very good question. One thing I just want to start is if you just right now close your eyes. You know you're in a session with me. You just close your eyes and you stand on the top of Burj Khalifa and just look down. You will feel a bit fearful, if not very fearful. So even by thinking, your body can
Change stuff, right?
Did you feel that? Yeah. Did you feel a bit of goosebumps or just a bit of tense feeling?
Right, a bit.
You knew that's not the truth, but still, even I sitting in India I can feel that. Then our mind, when it thinks, it releases some emotion. Okay. So when an athlete is not cooling down mentally and is still in the practice session mentally, the athlete's body can release the same chemicals, the same hormones, the same things, emotions which it releases during the practice.
Okay.
So it becomes so technically the mind is being fooled here. So whenever you're relaxing, your mind is not completely relaxing, which prolongs your recovery.
Okay.
Which if I had to explain it in a very good example is flow state. So let me explain what the flow state is for those who don't know. A flow state is a state, it is especially good for an athlete. A flow state is a state when an athlete is fully, or any person is fully in the zone, which we call. So the body merges with the act so much that they don't care about the surroundings. So you are so merged with the act. So basically, if someone's cooking, if someone's passion is cooking, and if they're cooking, their body is so merged with the act of cooking that everything around, everything in the surrounding disappears. They're so merged with the act. So there is a cycle for flow state which has to be followed. So the first step is the struggle. The second step is the release. Third step is the flow, and the fourth step is the recovery. So first step is a struggle where you're struggling to find that momentum, that feel, that rhythm. Then you just release. For a fast bowler, struggling to find the rhythm. Then the fast bowler just releases that I don't care about the outcome. I just want to bowl now. And then when the burden of the outcome is released, the flow comes into the picture. Then there's a flow state where a fast bowler is so merged in the act of fast bowling that the fast bowler does not care about anything except bowling the best that he or she can.
Right.
And the fourth is the recovery, which is being missed for most of the athletes. So this is technically you warming up, okay? You doing the muscle activation, you lifting a 1 rep max, and then just straight away going home and going on your work. So this is as bad as that. So it is very important to recover from the practice. When we do physical cool down, it is amazing, but we should mix that with the mental cool down. Either do it separately or do that in the physical thing, in your physical cool down stuff. One of the thing which can be done is meditation. So meditation, you can either do it just by sitting, or you can do it even during your physical cool down. If you're foam rolling, just close your eyes and focus on each and every roll that it's causing on your muscle and every part of the body. And the most important thing here is the exhale. Exhale is a parasympathetic response.
Okay.
So exhale deeply, exhale very calmly, and relax that part of the body when you're exhaling. So when you do that, there is a mental recovery happening. So technically you're foam rolling, the physical cool down is happening, mentally you're meditating. You can even do foam roll and then meditate for like couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you feel like, and then get done with the session. And it will feel amazing. You'll be just switched off. As you leave to the ground, everything will be left on the ground. You just like chill, or you do whatever you want to do. And it creates a great improvement because the body is recovered. The burnout is delayed by a great master, the mental burnout especially. So this is something that can be done, but make sure your exhales are long after the session, at least longer than the inhale. And exhales are long, calm, and very relaxed. Okay? So this was the cycle of flow state. And so if your flow state, the recovery cycle is not taken care of, your ability to go in the flow state is being affected the next time you get into flow state, because that for the body is being a surprise. So you're closing it by surprise. You're just doing your 1 rep max and you're just running out of the gym. It's a surprise for the body, right? Because you warmed up, so you need to cool down. There has to be a process.
Right.
So if you do not practice recovery enough, your body will compromise going into flow state the next time. So it affects the ability for your body to go into the flow state. So it's very important for the for people to athletes to take up meditation. Meditation is not just it is one of it, the sitting and meditating, but it can be done in many forms. Whatever form you want to practice in, you can practice, but take care of the exhale.
Yeah.
I also wanted to highlight one thing, which is a major challenges in current exercise from a mental point of view, which is a low attention span, because of a lots of athletes are practicing on everyone is practicing distraction at a very high rate than they're practicing focus and concentration. So they are switching apps like anything, and by switching apps without having any work, their mind is practicing distractions for a longer period of time than it is practicing focus and concentration.
Right.
So people are getting better at being distracted than being focused. So focus is basically mind's ability to hold the awareness in a thing, hold the attention in a thing for an extended period of time. So if that doesn't happen, and because people are practicing distractions very much, mind cannot hold that for a long period of time. And hence, because of lack of concrete and intentional focus, their awareness gets hijacked. So the next time the self-doubt comes in, the awareness goes into the self-doubt when I'm bowling in the run-up. Right. So that's not because I'm a bad bowler. That's just because I'm practicing distraction too much. I'm being distracted too often, and I'm easily vulnerable to distraction. So the self-doubt takes over. The negative thoughts takes over, because my intention, which we took in the first point of the talk, the intention is not firm. Right. For this, mindfulness is a great tool. Mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness can be a part of meditation, but they can also be a separate thing. You can practice meditation separately and mindfulness separately. So mindfulness is just it has many definitions. It's a wide topic, but one of it is you can develop a good awareness, a good direction of awareness. So you can direct wherever your awareness going, and then bring it back and take it to where you want to take.
Okay.
So, and the other second thing, which is very, very common in the athletes, is performance anxiety. Performance anxiety can be of two parts. One can be the physiological aspect, one can be psychological aspect. Psychological aspect of performance anxiety is more dependent on the perception. For example, if you're a fast bowler and you're playing a game which is a local game in your local area, and you're at the run up, and then you're at a run up at a competitive game where if you don't bowl well, you don't get selected, and it's like, so the perception of the situation, in both the cases, the ball is in your hand, and the batsman also might be the same in both the cases. But because of your perception of the tournament, the performance anxiety will be here, but won't be here in this
Right.
case. So that is because of perception. So there, how to improve that? You can improve like by facing your fears, taking pressure as an opportunity rather than taking it as a fearful thing. Yeah, there are many factors, but it is very individualistic. So improving one's perception of the tournament, of that act, is very important. And one of the most easiest thing which you can work on is focusing on the act rather than focusing on all the other things.
Right.
Focusing on the act of fast bowling or whatever act you're doing, rather than focusing on various factors, the tournament, the level of the tournament, the opposition, and everything. So focusing on basically executing your best on that particular day is the focus. When the focus shifts, there are a lot more chances of you to succeed and to not have that performance anxiety. And performance anxiety psychologically is normal before a game. It should not just affect how you during your activity.
I think this is something that I think most of the fast bowlers feel when they go for all these matches and everything. Now, just one thing to add on to this. Like personally, I want to share a story where I was in UK and I was playing a county tournament over there for a minor county, and we were playing against Sussex. So we were a very minor county. It's called Oxfordshire, and we were playing with Sussex. Sussex being a major county, obviously. So now, when I went over there, I didn't know what these major and minor counties were. So in my mind, for me, all the teams were the same, right? And they had a batsman in their team who apparently got selected for England under 19, and this was something that I didn't know, but rest of my teammates knew. And I happened to get him out on the first delivery of the match. And after the match, they came to me and they told me that he got selected for this. The very next game we had against the same team, and he smashed me around the whole park. And there was no difference in terms of my skill level. I was still bowling the same thing which I bowled to him before, but it's my perception of how that player is. So it makes a very different opportunity. Maybe if my players wouldn't have told me that he's got selected, maybe I would have gotten him out the next game as well. But yeah, it's all about perception. It's all about how you can handle yourself. And yeah, there's a lot of things. Sometimes it becomes very uh, in terms of a fast bowler, a lot of times a lot of fast bowlers just go for practice and they just keep on practicing, and they don't actually play matches. So they feel that if they keep on improving their skill level, they're eventually going to play good matches, which is true. I won't say no. Like I'm on the same path as this thinking where I'm trying to get to my potential and then play matches. But yeah, eventually you do have to play matches. You cannot expect to just keep practicing and the first match itself it's all going to click. All right. As I said, fast bowling is all about feel. So feel is not only in terms of feeling your action, it's also in terms of feeling your environment. So it's like something similar to a batsman. A batsman keeps on playing on cement wickets, and he feels okay, he's middling the ball, everything is going good. Suddenly he comes to a turf wicket where it's dead, everything is staying low, and suddenly he doesn't middle the ball. So it's about the feel of the environment as well, and you need to get accustomed to that. So Anxiety, what I feel is anxiety and depression can be conquered once you start acting. If you act, everything is
Yeah.
eventually going to come in place.
And cricket, I feel, is a sport where the difference between a net and match is huge compared to other sports
Right.
because of the technicalities that are involved in cricket. In football, you can have a game situation much often in practice than cricket, where net practice is very different, not different in terms of technique, but different in terms of the environment
Environment, yes.
when it comes to a match situation. And one very important thing you measured, the example that you gave, that the perception of the player uh, changed how you bowl. So that brings us to the exactly first thing that we spoke. The more sorted the perception is,
Yeah,
the better your intention is while bowling, and the better your focus is while bowling. So first
exactly.
time your perception was very sorted, where your intention was just to bowl your best delivery, and because of that your visual focus was very good, and you bowled at the spot and got his wicket. So it's all again interconnected and brings us back to the topic.
Exactly.
The other topic is the physiological aspect of performance anxiety. Yeah. You want to add something in the
No,
psychological aspect?
no, I think this is pretty much that we've cleared. Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, if there's something issues, you guys can always write to us in the comment section, and maybe we can help you there as well.
Yeah. So the physiological aspect. So physiological aspect, one easy example can be like you're rushing to the game or you're rushing to your workplace and you reach there, and uh, if your car gets car gets shut down or there's some thing happen and you reach the game, your heart rate is already over the roof. You're already anxious, and when you hold the ball, it gets even worse. That's because of the physiological aspect. Yeah. The other thing which can have impact is the food. A major impact, sleep. You're not sleeping well. You're feeling very cranky, and 1-4 can disturb your mental rhythm, and you can just go downhill from there. Just one reason can be because you didn't have a good sleep. It's not necessary that not having a good sleep will lead to bad performance, but it can contribute. It has, like, you need a lot of mental clarity if you have a bad sleep in order to perform well. Yeah. So how to improve that? Improve the lifestyle thing, especially on the day and before the day. Hydration, a very, very important factor which we've been missing in this conversation. Sleep, hydration. The other thing is your stress resilience should be high. You
Right,
should train your stress resilience as much as you train your muscle.
right,
Yeah. So the stress resilience, how can you train your stress resilience? One is exercise. Two, ice baths and cold shower do wonders, do total
definitely.
wonders in improving the stress resilience. There are many other aspects too, like improving your tolerance to carbon dioxide, improving your resistance to stress. So we talked about improving CO2 tolerance. Higher the CO2 tolerance, the lower will be your urge to breathe
Hmm.
when the stress occurs. And when the stress occurs, the stress first goal of stress is to get your breathing out of control. But when your CO2 tolerance is high, it does not go out of control. You have a lot of time in thinking logically and cognitively rather than just taking an emotional impulsive decision.
Right,
So these are the factors that you can train.
right.
So physiological, psychological, identify what your stressor is and deal with that. If it's physiological, you probably would need a sports psychologist or anything like that. If it's physiological, you would need physiological changes which is stopping you.
Right.
So like this was probably my take on it. You do you have something to add, or can we go to the next part?
No, I think this is pretty much that we can cover in this topic, and I think we can move on to the next one now.
Yeah. So now we can take the question.
I think we could ask a
So
few questions here and there. So, uh, I think this was a little bit more towards the mental side of fast bowling. If there is something that you want to ask in terms of feel as a fast bowler, uh, then you could ask away. All right, so I think this was a pretty good webinar. I think this is a good place to conclude this session, and hopefully it was very insightful for all the fast bowlers, and even for people who are not part of the sport but just want to see how mentally it can affect their own sport. So I think thank you, Elor, for conducting this session with me, and hopefully we do more sessions like these, and we can help a lot of more people in the fraternity. And if you guys have any kind of questions, or if you have any kind of doubts, we guys are always available on our Instagram, on our YouTube pages, and even in the comment section. If you have anything urgent to be spoken about, we are always happy to help you guys.
Yeah, I would like to thank you for uh, having this conversation with me. It was a wonderful conversation and a wonderful amalgamation of fast bowling, breathing, mental side, everything. Generally, fast bowlers are not the first one you associated with. You associate them with when it comes to the mental side of sport.
Yeah.
And that's why it makes it so important for them to have a good pillar of mental and a good base of physiological side, because it is very important for them and it's not talked about enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So it was great to have a conversation with you. Thank you very much. And as you said, if you have any doubts or anything, you can just ask us in the comments.
I think we conclude here. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for seeing this video. And if you have any questions, you can ask us away. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you very much.